So, you've probably heard this term big data thrown around a lot, right? But what does it actually mean? It sounds super complicated, but it's really the invisible engine behind so much of your daily life, from your Netflix recommendations to how your navigation app helps you dodge traffic. Let's break it down.
All right, first things first. To really get a handle on big data, you have to appreciate the mind-boggling amount of information we're creating all the time. Seriously, it's not a stream, it's an absolute tidal wave. The numbers are so huge, they honestly sound made up.
Okay, get this. In the time it takes you to listen to this sentence, about 500 million tweets have been sent.
At the same time, we've fired off 294 billion emails.
And on top of that, 65 billion WhatsApp messages are flying around the globe.
And here is the absolute kicker. That's not per day or per hour. That happens every single minute. You know, your laptop or a simple spreadsheet, it would just give up. It would completely freeze trying to process that. The old tools just weren't built for this kind of digital flood.
So if our regular computers can't handle this information overload, what can? Well, that's exactly where big data comes in. And probably the easiest way to picture it is to imagine trying to get a drink from a fire hose. A coffee cup just isn't going to cut it, right? You need something special. And at its core, that's what big data is. It's any collection of information that's just too huge, moving too fast, or is too complex for our traditional tools to store, process, or even make sense of.
I love this analogy because it just clicks. Imagine trying to read every single book in the entire Library of Congress in just one day. It's impossible. A single person couldn't do it, and guess what? A single computer can't either. It's an impossible task with the old methods.
Okay, so how on earth do we actually tame this data flood? Well, there's a simple framework for understanding what makes data big, and a really clever way to actually process it all without breaking a sweat.
It really just comes down to what people in the know call the 3 V's. First, there's volume. That's just the sheer ridiculous size of it all. Then you've got velocity, which is how fast it's all coming at you. Think about live comments during a huge global event. And finally, variety. This data isn't all neat and tidy. It's a mix of text, photos, videos, even location pings from your phone.
So how do you solve an impossible problem like reading that whole library? You don't do it alone. You break it up. Instead of one computer struggling with the whole thing, the job gets divided into thousands of tiny pieces. And then, an army of computers all tackle their own little piece at the same time. It's like having thousands of librarians working in parallel, each one just sorting a single shelf.
But here's the real magic. It's not actually about having all the data. It's about what you can find in it. The whole goal is to discover these hidden patterns and connections that are completely invisible when you're just looking at a small slice. These patterns can reveal everything from the next hot product to the very beginning of a disease outbreak.
Now, I know this might still sound a bit abstract, but you're already using and benefiting from big data every single day, probably without even realizing it. Let me show you what I mean.
Let's take a company like Walmart. Every single day, they collect 2.5 petabytes of data from customer purchases. Now, a petabyte is a number so big, it's hard for our brains to even process. So to put it into perspective, the amount of data Walmart gathers in one single day is equivalent to 167 times all the books in the entire U.S. Library of Congress. Insane, right? And what do they do with all that information? Well, they analyze it to make sure the products you want are actually on the shelf at your local store. They could even predict how a coming snowstorm will change what people buy and restock things like shovels and salt before the rush even begins. Or here's another one you probably used, the Waze app. It takes millions of little data points, like your speed and your location, from every driver on the road. It then transforms all that chaos into a clear, live map that helps you steer around a traffic jam. That's big data, literally saving you time and frustration.
So, beyond getting your shopping done faster and finding a quicker route home, why does this all really matter? Well, because this technology is fundamentally changing the world we live in, creating a level of personalization that used to be pure science fiction.
It's the reason Netflix seems to read your mind and how your phone's keyboard knows what you're going to type next. All this convenience is powered by these massive data sets. But this incredible power also forces us to ask some really important questions. First off, when you're contributing all this information to these services, who actually owns your data? Is it you, or is it the company that's collecting it?
And with companies holding so much of our personal information, can we really be sure that it's all being kept safe from hackers or from being misused?
And finally, could all this information be used to make decisions that affect our lives in ways we don't expect? These are the kinds of big questions we all need to be thinking about as we move forward. And that really brings us to the most crucial point. This isn't just a tech trend. It's a fundamental shift in how our world works. Understanding big data is a bit like understanding how electricity works. It's this invisible force that's powering our modern lives. And knowing what it is helps all of us navigate the future just a little more wisely.